One mode.
Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Today it's about Topos, a new saturation distortion plugin that just came out yesterday. It's from the same guys that did Visco. I showed you this a while ago. It's kind of an interesting spectral based drum sampler. So they released yesterday Topos, which is kind of the saturation distortion effect with some neat or interesting twists. And I want to show you what it does and what I like, what I don't like. So first and foremost, on the left side, you have a lot of modules here. You have an input filter, you have an amplifier simulation, and you have a speaker simulation and a mixing section. And to each of these modules, you have detail settings here on the right side, where you can change more things. So that's how it works, right? So first and foremost, the filter here at the top gives you access to a low cut and a high cut. And we have also here a through mix, so we can bring in or remove basically the top end or the low end and only distort a certain frequency range. You can also change here the peak settings, of course, and the slope or whatever you want to use there. So detailed band splitter or detailed EQ to just single out certain frequencies and then just apply distortion to that range. Kind of neat. And if you have here this through mix all the way to the top, like this, it doesn't change the phase. So it's linear phase, which is also pretty neat and nice to know. Then we go with the signal from this band splitter here into an amplifier simulation. And this is really a simulation, and we have some presets here we can choose from, which is more or less, some kind of transfer curve that you can see here on the right side. But there's more to it. You can influence it in multiple ways. So the biggest or interesting twist to this is that's probably why it's called Topos, is that you can access here this topological view of all the distortion presets, and you can kind of move around here and settle with something in between. So you can create your own distortion curve by just putting this here in a place between certain things or certain presets you like, right? You want to have your cassette, maybe you want to have vintage tape, but you can also settle with something in between. So you can, are not bound to any presets with this. So this gives you some kind of interesting curve that you can see here. And this is also something I don't like with this plugin here, is when you go from a knob, it just puts you back in this wave view. So it's a bit annoying. I just want to, stay with this view, but it's not possible. You have to stay on this knob with the mouse. So anyway, we have this transfer curve here, and then you can see basically the loudness, how much you change the loudness with this curve, and how much distortion is applied. And there's also an auto gain, which compensates for the distortion, so you stay in the same volume range. So let's use this here on the drum bass bus. Right, it's way too much, and you can see here the auto gain pulls down the volume drastically, and it's based on the input drive, of course. So the auto gain works nice, but then you have here the scaler, which is, in my opinion, the most important part. So you can scale the transfer curve, which makes it more subtle. So that's how I like my saturation. I like it subtle, right? So I just pull down here the scaler and just settle with the setting that I really like. Maybe something fuzzy. You can also see on the right side the coloration. There's a chart, odd harmonics, even harmonics, so you can see what it does. And if you want to, you can also open up here the amplifier details page, and you can dial in hard clip and fold and rectify, and really tweak the amplifier how you like it. And you can see there's also quick help. You just hover over something and it shows you what it does. It's nice design. I really like how they did this here. In my opinion, it's a good design. So let's dial this back. Yeah, that's enough. And then you go from this amplifier simulation into a speaker simulation. And that's really important because in most distortion effects or reverb effects, you have nowadays just impulse responses. This is not an impulse response. This is really a simulation. And you can tweak every single setting. And you have also this kind of view here where you can dial in different filter curves. So this is more like a filter. You can see it more like a complex EQ curve. So let's just enable this here. You can see here the filter curve at this position. And again, with this scaling feature here, you can just dial it in just a tad, just a bit, right? To give it a taste of this speaker, instead of having this here at full range. So let's go here with the, what's the iPhone, smartphone, Walkman. A laptop, right? You don't want to have a filter curve of a laptop at full range. That's not what you want, but you want to have it maybe in a subtle way. I don't know. Also here again, the detail settings, damping, reflection, the scale of the device, of the laptop, I guess, position probably of the microphone, I guess. So yeah, detail settings. And I think you can also modulate this here. So this is not an impulse response. That's important to me to actually give you this information. This is not just an impulse response. It's a real filter, and it reacts to the sound, and you can modulate it. You can twist and turn it, and yeah, nice to have. So let's dial this here back a bit more. Okay. Maybe use something different here. Okay, and then we have here the output section, which features here flux, dynamics, and wet mix. And here it says blend between the processed and input sound globally. I'm not sure. I guess, or I hope, this is actually really a parameter blend and not just a volume blend. So you're not blending between the, the dry signal and the wet signal, I guess you apply here, or I hope that's what I would do with this plugin. I just would scale all the settings, right? So everything is at 0, and then you pull it up, and then you scale all the settings up. That's how I would do it, but it's probably not this way. I'm not sure. Blend between the processed and input sound globally. I don't know. It's probably just a volume blend, just a dry and wet signal. So then we have dynamics here. And this brings back the original dynamics of the input signal. So it uses, I guess, an envelope follower of the input signal, and then it applies the volume shape or the wave shape of the original signal back to the processed signal. So when you remove dynamics here with the amplifier, you can bring the dynamics here back without removing the distortion, of course. So let's try this. So right, it's kind of a flat signal because it's super distorted and super shaped. So you can leave the distortion on, but you shape the output signal so it matches the dynamics of the input signal. So you can only apply distortion without removing dynamics. So that's the idea behind it. And then we have flux here, which is movement, modulation, kind of. We can also look at the details page here. So it's a random modulator, chaos modulator. You can change the rate. And then say, bring this in. You modulate settings of the amplifier and the speaker setting here, right? You can say how much you want to modulate here the amplifier, how much you want to modulate the speaker. And it just randomly changes the settings of the speaker and the amplifier. So it brings in a bit of movement. Not sure what the difference is here between chaos and random. It's just a sinus. So it's a up and down movement. So it's an LFO. And if you bring this to 100%, then it's chaotic LFO or random modulator. And then you have your difference between left and right channel, I guess. Stereo width of the flux modulation. So you have like on the left channel and the right channel different modulations. So you can also make the signal a bit wider. It's probably more interesting on bass sounds, I guess. So this is on the drum and bass bus here. Let's remove this actually here. Let's put it on the bass just for some experiments here. Let's put it here. Topos. It's already distorted. I mean, my basses are already distorted like crazy, so. German bass. Let's bring this back. Let's only add distortion to this range here. Yeah, and then try to use flux here. Maybe also to the speaker. Yeah, you can see how it moves. So the only annoying thing with this plugin is actually how this window here behaves. I just want to look at these things, at these settings here, and they just switch away when you leave the knob, which is a bit annoying. And also here, these spectrum analyzers don't give me that much information actually, so it's not super important. I think the only thing that's really interesting is the in-out vector scope here, where you have like the input signal on the x-axis and the output signal on the y-axis, I guess, and then you can see how it changes the signal. But it's also so blurred, you can't really see what's going on. So it's, I don't know, maybe show here something, the harmonics, how many harmonics you add, and also make this a bit relaxed here when you leave the knob, right? I just want to see what's going on here, and then it's a bit annoying. So this is the only downside of this plugin, how this window behaves. But the rest, I think, in my opinion, is very well designed. It sounds good. It makes sense. It's also not super expensive. Let's look at the website here. I think it's $99, but for now it's $79. And there's also, interestingly, down here, a download, which is called Topos Play. And I think this is more like a demo version that works forever or something like this. I'm not sure. So with this version, I think you don't have access to the right detail settings here, but you can access all this stuff here, the quick parameters on the left side. So it's enough to actually, try it out and see how it sounds, how you can use it. It's only 2 megabytes. It's also very small. There's no iLok, so it looks good. So why not just download it, give it a try, and see how it's something that you like. I'm not affiliated with this, by the way, but there's a link in the description you can click, and then you can download this and try it out for yourself. Maybe give me information here if this works under Linux. Would be interesting to know. I haven't tried it yet. Anyway, that's it. I think it's a great plugin. It looks nice. It sounds great. And that's it for me. So if you liked the video, leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's always interesting. And I see you in the next video. Thanks for watching and bye.